My name's William Cheung, and I'm the Grandmaster of Wing Chun Kung Fu. And I'm also a Chinese doctor, a Chinese herbal doctor and orthopedic. Right now that I have been spent half the time teaching Wing Chun Kung Fu, touring around the world. I practice Wing Chun for 53 years now, since I was 11 years old. And this was in 1951. Grandmaster means that you know the whole system. In Wing Chun, there's two sides of it. One side is the healing, and the other side is fighting and fitness. Wing Chun comes from the southern Shaolin. About 500 years ago, China was invaded by Japan, and the Shaolin Temple, that time it's only one Shaolin Temple, is Songshan, Hunan, and was responsible for taking care of the security of the country. So they sent the best soldier monk in charge of the army, and they went down south to defeat the Japanese invasion. So the Ming Emperor gave the money and the land for this soldier monk to build a temple at Fujian province, and so that to deter any further invasion from Japanese, and also to train armies that down south that they can take care of the security. So it's that time that the Southern Shaolin is born, is sort of established, and it came from the Northern Shaolin.
See, I changed the direction of this kick, right? Right.
Not long after that, the Manchu took over China, and Manchu was a small percentage of population, probably 4 or 5% of the main population. And the Manchu banned all martial arts. So the Northern Shaolin has surrendered, basically say, okay, we're going to take out all effective movements of the martial art that we practice, and we're just responsible for training theatrical acrobats and choreograph fight scenes and so on to put in the opera, so as to train opera singers. So they have changed everything. They even introduced a lot of soft style. Shaolin was very, very hard style. But the Southern Shaolin had never surrendered to the Manchu. And in fact, they have organized a revolutionary army to overthrow the Manchu. So the Southern Shaolin that is maintaining its standard of fighting. So at that time, 5 Grandmasters from the Southern Shaolin and want to organize a revolution. So they empty all their knowledge, and they configure or develop the principle of Wing Chun. But before they could put it into practice, Shaolin Temple was raided, and portion of it was burned down, and they were arrested. And the only survivor was the nun Mui. She took the principle, the theory of Wing Chun, and put it into physical form. And she taught an orphan girl called Wing Chun. Well, she named her Wing Chun, and that's how Wing Chun was born. I met Bruce Lee on his birthday, but we didn't communicate because his family was very superstitious. Before Bruce died, his elder brother died as a baby, so they thought the devil was going to take the boy from the family, so they gave Bruce a female name, Little Phoenix instead of Little Dragon. Bruce Lee was my hero because I saw him on the movie. He always win against the bullies. He was a target for the triads because he's a money earner, and he's famous as a child movie star. So the triad want to recruit him so they can attract more other little boys to get the little boys to do dirty work for them, right? So I decided to look after Bruce. So his new school was St. Francis Xavier in Samsui. So about between 3 and 4, I have nothing to do. So I usually go and pick him up. So at his minder, his bodyguard. And so we become very close friends because I was looking after him. But after, in less than a year, that he saw me fought some adult gangsters. Yeah. And he thought, wow, how can a young boy can fight like that against real, grown up? So he wanted to learn. He said, what's this? I say, it's Wing Chun Kung Fu. Oh, Wing Chun, So he wanted to learn. So he asked me to get him to meet with Sifu Yip Man. Yip Man was a very, very special martial artist. In fact, he also not fully sort of full-time master as such. His family was very rich, and he always been just practicing martial art, practicing Wing Chun as a hobby. And in 1959, he came down. He escaped from China because China was liberated by the communist government, and he stuck in Macau. And he lost all his fortune. He brought a lot of money down, but he lost it in the casino. Leung Chun, his first student, later on become his first student, discover him or help him, and to move to Hong Kong and put him up in an apartment. And at that time, Leung Chun didn't know Yip Man was a martial artist. Leung Chun was a Bat Mei, a white eyebrow master. In fact, a very famous white eyebrow master. And then he taught all the union guys, that restaurant union people. One night, when he was teaching, and he found Yip Man was have a smirk on his face and sort of wasn't very, very appreciative of his movement and so on. So they decided to have a friendly, contest, and Yip Man defeated Leung Chun, and Leung Chun became his student. So when they first started, it was only 5 students. And then after that, Wong Shun Leung, my brother, and me, so 8 students started. And Yip Man, he never liked to tell about his life story, but he started Wing Chun when he was 9 years old. But in the old days, the master never teach. You learn from the senior, you learn from the Si Heng. He was the number 16th student of Chen Shun. They call him Chen Gong, and Chen Gong was one of the most famous Wing Chun master or Kung Fu master in Fatsan, and so the person actually taught him was Zhong So, the number 1 student.
He was young, talented, wise for his age. At the Bruce Lee at that time period, might be a little bit on the cocky side at that time period, but he was definitely well-schooled and knowledge beyond his years. He had a high respect for Yip Man, but I was told because he wasn't pure Chinese that sometimes he didn't want to teach Bruce Lee in front of students, so he assigned William Cheung and Wong Leong to teach him. And then as time went on, when he came to the United States, he started to evolve on his own, but he had a high respect for Yip Man. There was definitely could see a love there.
Most martial artists, they want to learn, like in a couple of hours, they want to learn the whole system. And Bruce, no. Bruce would stay on to do one technique. When we first start, we just do basics. And Bruce would never come up and say, show me another move, show me another training drill. No, he would stay on. Sometimes I would say, oh, Bruce, I want to show you something new. No, I want to, he said he wanted to master that first. So in fact, he influenced me, he inspired me. So we would be doing, when we train something very simple, very basic. So our basic is so good, the foundation is so good. So later on, he can build on and also improve my coordination, reflexes, balance, everything. In 1951, I was involved in a swimming team with Wong Leung, who is Wong Leung's brother. And Wong Leung told me that his brother is a very good boxer and been challenging Chinese Kung Fu masters or practitioners to contest. So one day he told me that I should go and have a look because he's going to challenge this old man practicing some woman Kung Fu. So we went to this restaurant union's headquarters. That's where this old man is living. And so Wong Leung challenged this old man. And we didn't take much notice. I didn't take much notice what his name is. Just a bald-headed old man and a small statue guy. And but Wong Leung put up the stands and this old man just moved in. And next thing you know, the Wong Leung was down on the ground. And then Wong Leung say, okay, let's try another round. And then 3 times, and Wong Leung went down to the ground. And so we were so embarrassed that we just ran out from that place. And Wong Leung whispered in my ear that that was Yip Man, the old man that practicing woman Kung Fu, So 3 months later, I found out Wong Leung was practicing training Kung Fu with this old man, Yip Man. So I was upset with him, so I rang him up and asked him why he didn't ask me to come along. So eventually I went along with my brother, and so we start training Wing Chun then. Yeah. I started training in 1951, and I finished in the end of 1958, so about 7.5 years. But during those 7.5 years, 3.5 years I was training full-time. And I lived with Yip Man. I left home when I was 14. I lived with Yip Man for 3.5 years. And it's during those times that I really understand the principle and learn the theory and the principle and the application and improve my skill level. And also Wing Chun was have a special arrangement. Every generation, they can only pass on traditional Wing Chun to one person, a selected person. So Yip Man learned from 2 masters, Shun and Leung Bik. And when he learned with Shun, he learned the modified version. And so when he was teaching, he was only teaching the modified version. But psychologically, I don't think he's happy of doing that, but he's bounded by his vow that he cannot teach traditional Wing Chun to everybody. So that's why I didn't teach traditional Wing Chun until Yip Man passed away.
Grandmaster William Cheung, Hong Kong rooftop and street fighting legend, direct disciple of Yip Man himself, and by all accounts the man responsible for bringing Bruce Lee to the system in the early 50s. And I would attend these weekend seminars whenever my Qigong was in Los Angeles. I was struck by his wit, his compassion, his lightning speed, but more so by these healing therapy sessions he'd administered to the injured and unwell students at breaks. So firstly, the abbot has ordained that Grandmaster Cheung bring Wing Chun Kung Fu back to the temple.